So my example of 2 or 3 minute wisdom that I've drawn from St Ignatius comes from the time when he was in Rome, and there was a certain novice who was being refractory, didn't want to follow the rule or anything. And Ignatius told the master of novices, let him do what he wants to do for a couple of days and see what happens. And so he was told he could sleep as long as he wanted, he could get up and do his prayers when he wanted, he could do recreation and eat when he wanted. And after a very short time, the novice came back and said, I know that I want to be a Jesuit, and I know that this is my desire. So tell me what you want me to do, and I'm willing to do it. What St. Ignatius had seen very clearly was that this novice, for whatever reason, through kind of a sort of rebellion inside of him, could not be happy as a Jesuit because he had lost sight of what his desires were, what he really had brought him there. And once he was given the freedom, he was able to discover again those desires, and they would continue on and help him to be a good Jesuit. And the reason that this strikes me is long before I ever heard this story, I entered the novitiate with 20 other guys. And in the first 6 months, 7 of those guys left, and 3 guys from our second year left. And after a while, it became so difficult to figure out why I was there. And finally, one day when I was praying or when I was walking around the novitiate, I realized that I had not come to that novitiate because of those guys. And they're leaving. I was not going to leave the novitiate because of those guys. I had come there for Christ. And I was able to kind of discover again my true reason for being there. And it just, when I heard about that story, about the novice and what St. Ignatius had done, it made me recall that when we lose sight of what we really are motivated by, the love of Christ and serving Christ, and get caught up in some externals, it's all too easy to give up on things. But if we want to stay faithful to something, let us always remember that we are close, that we need to stay very close to those desires that most motivate us to follow Christ.